What do women do that people don't realize? It takes a lot of courage. Say no. You never know when some tool is going to get violent about it. Agreed. And a lot of more religious households raise young girls with the idea that women should be quiet and submissive. It can be so hard to say no when from a young age you've been ingrained with the thought that you should not and cannot. Or you'll suffer the consequences of speaking up. I grew up in a decently religious household in a very religious town, and this is exactly what happens. I've luckily never yet had someone get violent about my saying no. But I have had 1. Outright refusal to accept the no and then trying to force physical touch. 2. Gaslighting/guilting to try and make me change my mind. 3. Yelling/outbursts of anger at the audacity to say no. 4. Men creating stories to smear my rep and outright lie and cast me as an abuser/terrible person to others because I said no to a hangout. Other women I know have gotten rape threats. Been assaulted physically and sexually as punishment for saying no. And more. I'm in my 20s and still trying to learn that I can say no without incurring a panic and flee response just in case the person gets angry. I've luckily never yet had someone get violent about my saying no. Numbers 1 and 3 both count as violence. Number 1 is assault, sexual assault if it was that kind of touching, and number 3 is verbal abuse. It's unbearably sad that if we don't come out with bruises or endure a rape, we're so reluctant to see the other things as violence as well. I wish we lived in a world where we didn't have to weigh the potential consequences of a no every time we said it. Yet I think it says a lot about our world that I didn't even think about those as forms of violence, because I know so many worse examples that I've lucked out of experiencing so far. On the plus side, change is being made, and I'm seeing a lot more women and men stand up for their right to say no. And questions and communities like this on the internet dark sides accepted allow for those light bulb moments of oh speep, this isn't just a small issue. I gotta stay optimistic or I'll go hide and be a hermit knitting under a rock for the rest of my life. Not having children and being openly child-free. A lot of judgment gets tossed your way when you decline to make babies. Amen. Fellow CF here. Things got better once I was into my 40s though. I guess people think there's no point bingoing you then since you're out of your best breeding years. Reporting rape/sexual assault. It was one of the most difficult things I ever made myself do. I respect anyone who finds the courage to do just that. I just came from a family event where my dad was describing some horrible speep that happened to his sister. He said that he knows that she's been legitimately raped. He had someone pop out at her in a dark alley and assault her or something like that. Then he tried to course correct by saying she was classically raped. Which wasn't much better. I'm a domestic violence survivor. And there was a lot of rape in that relationship. Which my parents are aware of. My dad isn't a bad person and I know he has compassion for what I went through. But it was still so painful to hear that. People minimizing women's sexual trauma is still a very triggering experience for me. I don't think he really understands that what happened to me was rape. And a lot of people feel the same way. Which is why I never reported. I'm a DV survivor too, and my ex raped me when we were still together. The stigma is so compelling that I didn't even believe what he had done to me was rape for years, even though I knew that I didn't want to have sex and was crying, and he did it anyway. He put a gun in the nightstand. Like, it was real rape, and deep down I knew it, but because he didn't physically hurt me while it was happening, I didn't think I was raped. I was also raped by my ex during the relationship, and that time I denied it ever happened and stayed a few weeks longer until something else made me leave. I stayed in denial to myself for months. Even stayed friends with him until I met my current partner and told him what happened. He finally made me realize it really happened and wanted me to report it, but by that time it had already been half a year and I was too worried I would just be laughed at, so I didn't do it. Since being out of denial, having sex with my partner is a once-in-a-blue-moon thing, and intimacy in general is uncomfortable for me. It's been a year since it happened and I've not even scratched the surface on healing. Walk back to the car after a closing shift so the entire parking garage is empty and most co-workers are heading in different directions. Lots of things like that. But you're brave because you have to be. 100%. I was always so scared walking across a massive empty parking lot of my university campus when classes ended at 9:45 p.m. and I needed to stay for office hours after. Also, was a student worker at one point and sometimes wouldn't leave campus until almost midnight. I had an office, so it was easier to finish homework before leaving for the night. We did have campus police, but I always felt too awkward asking for an escort. OMG, I know asking for an escort was always super awkward. But I did do it anyway because the thought of what could happen walking from one building back to my dorm would scare me more. Childbirth and raising children. Homeschooling. Maintaining a marriage. Cooking from scratch. Being a stay-at-home mother. Abstaining from pop culture fads. All severely undervalued. What is it about cooking from scratch that requires courage? Individually, cooking and cleaning don't require courage, but to do all the tasks it takes to run a household day in day out knowing that you cannot quit does. Having to do it when you don't feel like it? When you have other life problems? When your own kids are being difficult, to commit to that life takes courage. Trust men. Whether in dating situations or otherwise. Especially if you've been hurt once or many times by men you thought you could trust or at least had no reason to fear. Trust in general. Especially regarding relationships. Live. Adapt. Overcome. I've been married for over 20 years and have been the main wage earner in my household for at least 15. I pulled my family from the brink of bankruptcy at least twice. I had to go on food stamps once to do it. I recognized my husband's depression and got him help long before it was a thing, and had to deal with the repercussions of doing so. Good for him. Not so much for me. None of this was what I expected when we were married. But I promised for better or for worse, so there you go. I've had 2 children vaginally. A hysterectomy. And a lumpectomy. I pee myself a little when I sneeze, laugh, or cough unexpectedly. Lately my blood pressure is kinda hot. I've had to wear progressive lenses, i.e. trifocals, since I turned 40, so for nearly 10 years. I'm very sure I'm not the catch I used to be. There's more. But I won't bore you. Not the point. The point is that women freaking rock and can do anything. I'll bet you $1 billion that there are at least 100 women reading this post who are like, "Girl, you got it so damn easy." And they are so right, but they know this isn't a competition. This is support for all of the women out there who have had to find a way to live through every single day. Everyone assumes that we, as women, can do it as naturally as breathing. But nobody remembers that it's really hard. We rock. I love you all, and I support all of the women who are not only struggling to get through the day for themselves, but are carrying the lives of their husbands/partners, children, and/or other family members along with their own. I love you all. We are strong. You are not alone. And we can do it. 3. Man, I found your obvious confident and loving nature pretty awesome. I don't think I can be like that, but I really hope I at least try to. Ha, you already are. Just because you're thinking about it. That's all it takes. I think. I've never had someone say something that nice about me before. So thank you. Wow, see what positive energy can do? We're only doing what it takes to get by. Just like everyone else out there. We can do it. We can. You matter and I care about you. Exist in the world as female. This is basically what I came to say. Just effing survive. God, it's so true. So many men have no idea. They cannot fathom it. Even if you try to explain it to them. My ex said to me regarding him being abusive towards me, you have nothing to fear from me. How patronizing. And how the f*** would he know what I fear? The assumption and subsequent inconsideration and blowing off of my feelings floored me. Asshole.
Hey guys, if you like this video then smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more contents like this. And don't forget to press that bell icon to get notified for future videos. Thanks for watching. Click here to see more videos.